So it's 7:01 and we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order.
14 months.
So, and do we have any changes to our agenda? Here's your opportunity, Al. Any changes to the agenda?
You want to whatsoever.
Everything.
You're
I
right.
adjourned, set
All
a
right.
record.
No changes to our agenda. We'll move on to student report.
Hi. Okay. So the school year has been like a week or two now. It's been going great actually. We've had some like rule changes a little bit, especially around the phones. Honestly, I'm seeing some positive changes. We're actually seeing like kids interacting at lunch rather than just glued to their phones, heads down. We're seeing a lot of like friendly conversations because kids, that's the only way for entertainment. But yeah, it's been pretty good. I mean, there's definitely been like a little bit of pushback. Of course, kids who are addicted to their phones are not going to be happy not having them. But I feel like some of them could admit like, yeah, I kind of like this. And then going into sports, our soccer teams have been pretty strong. We've kind of lost a little bit, but we're coming back. I'm telling you.
Gaining moment.
Yeah, it's just growth. The middle school soccer is doing really well. We actually have numbers. I was a little scared at first for my dad's team when we only had 11 people, but now we're up to I think 14, so we're doing well. We have a cross country team actually this year, which is really good. High school and middle school, they're holding in with a few numbers, but we've got this. And then actually really exciting, we have an exchange student this year from Italy, which is really exciting because we haven't had one in like I think since like COVID. Yeah, so that's growth. The theater just had their auditions. They're doing Aladdin. I think actually my partner over here, Maxon, got Aladdin, I heard this morning.
He
so
did.
exciting for him.
He did.
The band and choir are doing well as well. I actually talked to one of the band members and he said that they're moving really quickly. They're like remembering a lot. They're moving forward faster. So that's really good for growth in the band department. We have 3 seniors and the choir has 1, which is really great because last year in the band we had no seniors. So now we have some leadership, some upperclassmen, and the music room actually got a nice upgrade. They're flooring. Really loving it. And then the seniors, they're bonding a lot more. We're doing senior parking spots this year, which is really exciting because they got advice last year from the past seniors that they really wish that they did more senior connecting stuff. So this is a way to like come together as a community. Other than that, the year's going great so far. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Questions?
I'll take over.
Student leadership.
Principal for the day.
Any questions? Questions from online? All right. Public comment. Do we have any public out there?
Press. That's it.
Hearing none, we're moving right through this. Old business, Lindsay. Survey of families.
So Bob and I met on this and put together a little flow chart. Do you want to run through the thing?
Yeah, I think, so we basically, we started talking about the different groups that we wanted to survey and how we would access the people. And then for each group, what are the questions, how similar were they, how different were they? And we really came up with, there really needed to be 2 different things. One was for homeschool families, and one of is for current, maybe past students, and students who are no longer attending public school. So trying to think about that, Lindsay had created a flow chart that we made some minor changes to, but it in essence looks a little bit like this, which I can pass this around so you can see it. And it's really just some yes/no questions that drive you to different questions as they enter that information, and then a similar one for the home study students as well, with some yes/no chains. We're thinking, and then so today I met with Samson Sherman, who is our data analyst for the district, and I showed him what we were talking about. I expressed to him sort of what the board's will was. He had a couple of suggestions, and we talked a little bit about the tool to use, and because of the yes/no tree, but he said Google Forms is probably the best option. because some of the panorama tools that we use for other surveys don't have the ability to do chains like that, to follow, skip questions and such. So Google is probably the best way to go. I guess I'll just highlight the one really big thing that he talked about was, in Lindsay's original questionnaire, the two big, there's a lot of like other small data points, but the two big sort of open-ended questions were, what do you think West River does well, West River schools do well, and what do you think West River schools could improve on? And his thought was that if you have a major data point that's just text, it's really going to be hard to disaggregate that and to try to highlight like, well, the people that said yes, what did they say? People that said no, what did they say? It's going to be really hard to do that. His suggestion was to take 5 to 10 attributes, if you will, that could be either positive or negative. I'm going to use one like communication as an example. And that you just have to rank communication on a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. And then when you have everyone scoring communication, then when you disaggregate based on those other yes or no's, you can see that the yeses said communication was strong, or the no's said communication was the weak area, or whatever. And you'd see that through these 5 to 10 attributes, if you will. So, I mean, I just unpacked this with Lindsay just before the meeting started, so we don't have a list of what the attributes are. I think I can connect with Lindsay again. We could probably try to come up with a list of some things, and then maybe have one at the end catch all, like anything else you want to tell us about anything kind of thing. And then they could have some other open response ones, but then we could use the quantitative data to really drive the presentation of the board. So that's kind of what he was thinking. We have this fine tune. Building it once you have this is really just picking the words, the specific words, and then figuring out how to get it out there. So I have the home study list here for the SU, which is really just names, parent names and kid names and birth dates. And so it doesn't include contact information, but I think I can get that contact information from the towns, hopefully, at least get a mailing address, and maybe do some postcards with a QR code to the home study families that they can just scan and do the survey. And then for the other survey for other folks, obviously for the current students, it's pretty easy. We know how to get a hold of them. For the students who are not with us, who are with other schools, that's a bit of a challenge. We talked a little bit about that. Are there ways that we share it out with the towns? Are we, are we making it more of a publicly accessible thing where it's like, here's a survey. If you had a kid or have a kid who's school age and you live in these towns, try it out. And we have to have some instructions around that or whatever. But, and then the home study one, sorry, I'm skipping around a little bit, but the home study piece, the other thing I wanted to point out was that we're gonna have something in there about BTVLC, and having sort of a yes/no thing about whether or not the parent's looking for support around curriculum. Because these days now, if you had a kid in 4th grade that was homeschooled and the parents like, we don't know what to do with curriculum, we don't want to pay money for curriculum, we could actually re-enroll the student with the parents' permission, of course, and then give them access to VTVLC curriculum for 4th grade. And it doesn't cost the family anything. We're paying for the curriculum through VTVLC, and we get to count the EDM. So there's like a trade-off for us on that. So we would put that out there as part of the survey. It's like, hey, if you're interested in hearing more about this, click yes here, and we'll be in touch, kind of thing. So yeah, the one challenge I think will be getting a hold of the people who aren't here. As I said to Lindsay, sometimes it's hard if you had a family that moved into town and never went here. Like, we're not going to have any knowledge that they even are in private school. So that's really that group. The group that I think that you're most interested in getting is the hardest to try to figure out how to get at them. And then we were talking about maybe going X number of years for students who have gone through the system who are older, maybe in their 20s. And Samson was going to talk to Matt about whether or not that data is available, because we use Power School, but we don't have Power School anymore. We have Alma, and those students would be in Alma. So can we still access the Power School stuff? We did for the breach, but I don't know if we can. Anyways, so he was going to check in with Matt about that and see where that led. So I think we've made some good progress. We have a design. We have some ideas on collecting it. We know the tool we're going to use. It's just now figuring out how do we distribute and so on and so forth. Like the homesite one's actually, once you get the mailing addresses, is actually going to be the easiest one to get out there, because we know we'll be able to get all of them because we know exactly who they are. It's the other ones that are going to be tougher. So, anything you want to add to that?
No, I just think, I think it's important that we at least attempt to gather as much data as we can about where we're at and who we have and what they love and what they don't. And we haven't done that in a formal way as a board that gives us anything that we as a board can use to help guide our decision making. I just think it's an important important step. I would love if we could decide like yes, let's move forward with this and not necessarily have to bring like, here's the final survey next month and like, yes, okay, we saw the final wording. If everybody is comfortable with the general concept that Bob was talking about, I would love if we could, maybe have like the executive committee give a final approval or just the board chair or however we want to do it in a way that we can just sort of move it along.
And I would encourage, if you're interested in contributing a list of attributes, however many we have, that if you email Lindsay and I directly, we can start to compile how many different things we have, and then as we boil it down, when we meet with whoever the officers to kind of make that final decision, we'll know what the things are we're looking for.
Dan, I'm seeing some people in the waiting room.
Yeah, that's what I was, like, that's what my text was.
Sounds like a motion, right? I mean, I can make that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to make that motion to,
Thank you.
Al's made a motion to,
to pursue sending out as described this survey.
I'll second that.
we have a motion and a second. Do you have another comment or are we just pointing out the waiting room?
Waiting.
More discussion on the motion. Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And the ayes have it. Thank you. Moving right along, looking for a motion to approve the minutes of August 11th.
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any corrections for the minutes? See a theme.
Spelled my name right?
Yeah. I didn't look at spelling.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes of August 11th?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Correspondence, as far as I know, we have no correspondence. Anybody else have correspondence? Financials. We have,
They are not in the packet.
I
Yeah.
do have a list right here that Sue put together because there's so many financials over the summer that we wanted to
Right.
make sure that you got them all?
Well, we'll get
Would that
there.
be helpful?
We'll get
Sure.
back to having them in the
That's
packet. We just are in transition with executive assistant, so we are, if you just
I was gonna say,
started yesterday.
I'm pretty sure I can do most of them from memory, cause I was locked out and I had to get in and do them today, but I would have missed 103. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve pay orders 11, 12, 103, 14, 15, 16, and 17. You didn't total these for me, Heidi.
I'm sorry.
11 is for 8,000. 12 is for $259,872.86. Pay order 103 is for $14,429.53. Pay order 14 is for $3,463.19. Pay order 15 is for $15,006.42. Pay order 16 is for $198.27. And pay order 17 is for $225,331.53.
And if anybody's wondering why they're not completely numerically in order, there is accruals that go back to fiscal year 25 and then the other ones are fiscal year 26.
thank you. Give it a second.
I'll second it.
All right.
Your signature was on them all.
We'll give Dana a second.
Yeah. I own them.
All right, so we have a motion and we have a second. If any discussion or questions on the pay orders? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the pay orders?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Fund balance report.
So everybody should have seen, and probably has in their packet, a copy of my most current fund balance report for fiscal year '25. This is where I kind of expected to land because we have paid off the accruals and I don't see any more revenues coming in, but it's unaudited. The auditors come in October. So your general fund is looking like you're gonna end with a surplus of around $324,000. I made a notation, just for your information as a reminder on the spreadsheet that there are some amounts committed to the budget that we are now in. $100,000 from the food service to go towards buying down the tax rate, and then $348,600 from the reserve fund for fiscal year '26, including $95,000 from the after-school funds that will come through the SU. On the bottom, I just kind of gave some highlights. You did overspend on your expenditure budget, but the board voted back at the end of fiscal year '24 to retain $165,000 towards some the baseball field backstop project and crisis and safety improvements. So that is part of the 265. And then there was, on the right-hand side, you'll see some overages on health insurance, paraeducator budget, building repairs. We prepaid the 5-year lease to help with the cost in the next 5 years. So there was $91,000 right there. So overall, you guys did a great job with your budget. There was definitely unanticipated revenue. A big bulk of that was tuition from Wyndham for the students that came in. And then there was our English learner students grant. I don't know, it's part of your budget this year for revenue, but who knows if that will continue. I highly doubt it. And then high school tuition was up $66,000 than what was anticipated. And I, as your treasurer, put your money in investments when you have it, and so we made $67,000 in interest, which was really good this year. Interest rates have been really great for investments. So Greg also managed to get a grant from VIII for $10,000 towards the playground that was installed in Townsend. So that's kind of the overview, and I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has questions.
Any questions? Any questions online?
Yeah, where do we put the fund balance for safekeeping? Recommendations.
Well, the fund balance, are you talking about the reserve fund or are you talking about the surplus?
The surplus.
The surplus. I believe in your warning that went before the voters, you were moving it into your reserve fund, your reserve fund, yes. So it will go into the reserve fund, which as we get tax money, I will put back in an investment to make sure that we're getting the most out of your dollars.
Okay, sounds like a good plan.
No.
Just more of a comment, but just great financial management. And so at the start we're basically start to finish off by about $50,000, right? About a $50,000 change from beginning to end.
Yes.
With the fund balance, even though we did apply some monies towards tax.
Yes,
planning.
yes.
So great job. And then also 67,000 on investment. So I assume we're continuing that.
Yes, I had to
Investment
pull it out
Yeah.
because we knew that, and we had the tax anticipation note, which I just pulled 600,000 because September is your month where tax money isn't coming in quite yet, and your payrolls are pretty expensive every 2 weeks. So once we get into November, I can put money back in, we'll pay off the TAN, and then we'll put some money into an investment at that point. And for the most part, that will stay in an investment most of the school year, depending on where we're at. As we use up our fund balances or reserve fund, depending on how you go for the next fiscal year, that obviously you won't have as much to invest as we spend out some money.
What kind of a rate are we getting and what instrument are you using?
It's treasury bonds, which is what was recommended to both Lori and I prior to Lori leaving. And it's around a 4% interest for short term. So what I do is I just keep rolling it to get that best interest rate. It's usually a 3-month rate.
That's great. Thank you.
Other questions? We're running out of agenda here. Principal report. Who wants to, should I skip one?
Budget timeline.
Oh, I saw Heidi. Budget timeline. This,
I believe, Drew, that you wanted to talk about this a little
I
bit.
do. This is the item I wanted to talk about.
Okay, all right, like, you go ahead.
I'll see if they're over
Bring it
it.
to me.
Go ahead.
You're trying to get out early.
What would you like to talk about?
So, figuring out how we're going to go about kind of laying out our budget this year. And for me, I guess my concern is very similar to my concern last year, which is the timing of us creating our budget versus the timing of the SU creating their budget, and making sure that there's ample time for us to be able to see where we're gonna be at before the SU does their budget, so that we can kind of make that whole thing work. And if you could tell us when the federal government is gonna give us definitive numbers, and when the state is gonna give us all of the formulas, that would be great.
Yeah,
He is
Well,
bald,
we're-
but he's not a genie.
so I actually was talking to Samson, our IT guy, our data guy, because he's been working on the spring data collection for the state, which has had a lot of problems. And the state.
Not from our end.
No, from the state's end.
Just clear.
And so I'm concerned because the fall census is what we need to have done to get our student counts, to make sure I have an idea of what we're looking at. And they can't start that until they finish the spring data collection. And so they're working through the bugs, but they've been working through the bugs for a couple months now. So that's a concern of mine, because usually by December 1st we have student counts, and last year we did not. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that, but that's gonna be one piece. I am going to start working on the central office budget soon, and we'll start meeting with different departments. Bob and I will start talking. We'll start looking at that. It's been made pretty clear that we should not expect to receive Title II or Title IV funds. That's probably gonna hurt the SU budget by probably $300,000, because I also expect a decrease as we've been getting in the Title I funds. So there's a lot of conversations to have. If you want me, I can, so why don't you tell me what your pleasure is and how to move forward, or how we can start moving forward with your own budget in tandem with the SU budget. That would be helpful. Like, I can create, we're still waiting to ratify the new contract for the master agreement for your licensed staff. It's what I set aside in your budget is a little bit under what that's gonna come in at. So we're gonna have a little bit of a deficit there, and I would like to try to get a handle on what we're looking at for how that's gonna impact your budget. But I can pull the numbers for what the increase for salaries will be. I have a couple meetings between the end of September and October with business managers and the AOE. So I'm hoping to have an idea of what we're looking at for health care, but it still could be a 10% increase for health benefits. So I can put some cautious numbers in and start bringing numbers, but I don't know if October, I think maybe November's meeting would be the earliest to get the best numbers that I can at that point in time. Does that make sense? Or do you want something as early as October meeting?
And even that would not include the SU assessment.
Right, but yes, I'm assuming though.
But you could do a number, you could do a number over number from one year to the next on budget lines on the expense
Yes,
side.
yeah,
at
that's
least.
kind of, yeah. So tell me how you want me to go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm curious, I know that like last year, we ended up having, like the SU budget is done, right? We come in and we say, okay, we're gonna do our budget. We put it together and we have to cut all of this stuff, we have to make these big cuts and it's potentially gonna be painful and we have like a moment, right? And I expect that we will continue to have these moments, this is the situation that we are in. And so, I like the concept of this, that those things should be happening kind of together, because to just say like, this is what this is gonna be and there's nothing we can do about it, now make your budget with what's left, isn't necessarily, I don't know, feasible even? Forget whether it's a good idea or a bad idea, it just may not really be possible.
Yeah, you won't know how the other factors like what the threshold will be or things like that, how that's gonna affect things,
Right,
so.
right, and a lot of that happens supposed to happen right around the first week or so of December, that I get the threshold, that I get student numbers, and that, I mean, when did we push back the vote? Did we move it from like literally a week from the end of March to the beginning of April? I think your biggest concern is looking to see how the SU budget plays out. I feel like that's what, so, I'll put together what I have that are numbers based on contracted and health insurance, what I can for, say, the November meeting. So at least it's putting some numbers and ideas in your head. And then, I'm looking at last year's dates, and we did an overview. The first draft of the SU budget was the 9th of December last year. So if we're following sort of a similar timeline, by the beginning of December, a little bit middle of December, we'll be presenting and talking about what that first draft will be at the SU. And then we can pull some special meetings together, we can, however.
Yeah, the other thing, there was some conversation last year about the SU budget being pushed back further to give people more time. The challenge to that is not for you guys and not for River Valleys, but for Wyndham, Stratton, and Marlboro, they all need their finished budgets going into town meeting. So like, that's what the pressure is on the SU budget being completed with the timeline as stated. So just so you guys are aware, that's not your rush, although you're not that much further behind. River Valleys is a lot further behind, but even if you guys went to May to do your budget vote, it's still, the other three districts still need it completed for town meeting day. So that's one of the things we rub up against for those districts.
And if we manage to pull together a draft SU budget in November, I'm happy to bring that as fast as we have it. And if you want to do a special meeting, we can be in communication and you can call something special, whatever works best. Again, things seem to be changing moment to moment, so I'm trying to stay on top of it, and have been to some grant conferences, and we'll be working with the AOE and the business managers, and we'll do the best we can on getting information out.
Yeah, Al.
So, starting with, this is incredibly challenging. State forces, federal forces. So maybe the best thing, if we did want to have it something for October to look at, would be to say, all right, so last year, here's what we budgeted. Here's what we ended up encumbering. Here was where we were plus or minus. Why were we plus or minus? Is there a good reason? Did we just not have a teacher in that spot or not? Just kind of understanding.
So looking at the overall budget from fiscal year 25 or also looking at a potential 26.
I think
really just looking at the 25 budget and
knowing where we
analyzing
landed, how we landed, why we landed there.
Actual versus budget kind of.
Yeah,
Sure.
What are the realities for us for an FY26?
Okay.
And then beyond that, there's so many of the other forces that will play into it, the student count and all that. That's just, we don't know. But if there are things that we could look at
Start pulling things
to
apart.
understand better what happened,
Sure,
you know, just.
sure.
And also, sorry, if we do know that, like, if, at that point, if we know, like, this is what we thought was gonna happen, this is what did happen, we can talk about that, but if we know, like, but next year, but the following year, we already know there's something at play here, and maybe we don't know the specifics of it, but we know it's probably an increase, right? Like, we could talk about those things to at least start to understand that, like, this is a little increase and this is a little increase, and we don't know what it is yet, but we expect this to increase a little as well, and that will help us to at least be as aware of things as possible. And if all of a sudden our local budget is becoming like, we may see some of those things start to like compile and add on to each other, and that may impact what we choose to do at the SU level. Because, you know, you gotta, at some point, you work from the top down as well.
And so once we get the negotiated master agreement ratified, and I can get those numbers into our financial software, that's when I would pull a FY26 budget versus actual, because then at least you'll see what the numbers look like of what I budgeted for salaries and where the salaries turned out. So, but until we get that ratified, I can't get that into my system. So if that happens before your meeting in October, I'll bring that just so it's another piece to look at.
Jump in tonight.
For half.
Right, the SU board still needs to ratify.
Yeah.
I know we talked about like organizational charts back 4 or 5 months ago, so being able to look at our entire staff makeup, I think would also be helpful. So with the numbers also, what that structure looks like.
Sure.
Do we have a budget committee still, or did we decide that we were gonna just bring everything to everyone because it was important enough to do it? I don't still remember where we landed. Please remind me.
We did not establish one.
Oh, I took notes that you did.
We were going to meet throughout the year, which
Hasn't happened yet,
did not happen.
but you can start at any
Discuss.
time. I
I
had
think
4
there were names. I think there were names.
Yeah,
Yeah, there were
Yeah,
names.
I think we had 4 or 5 people.
Don't remember who they were, but.
I have them written down, but I don't have that with me. I feel like it was Dana, Peter,
Yeah.
Al, and maybe Emily or Drew. I'm
It
pretty
was
sure.
me. I was one.
I thought Dana was,
I
yeah,
thought you agreed like quarterly.
yeah,
So,
that's
like,
what
Yeah,
we were talking
yeah,
about.
Towards the end of that first quarter, so we were just about to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened, yeah.
Just
It was
about to
over.
do it.
I
We're
think
a little
we
late
talked
for the
about the
first quarter.
summer and then it just never panned out, so we can set up something. I don't know if we wanna talk about a time or a day that works best, and I can get something on the calendar and we can just make it regular.
And just to elaborate on what you said, so I think it's important to see all those positions. What did we expect to have for all those positions when we went into the budget? Where did we end up? Are we still gapped on some of those positions we weren't able to fill? Yeah, just contextualize it. I think that's a good idea.
I think that while we're waiting for the state and the federal government to give us pieces of information, the more we can understand about what we have and what we're doing, the easier that, I should say easier, that's not the right.
Well,
Cleaner.
Yeah, when we do have to start looking at what does it really look like now that we lost, $300,000 in title funds or whatever it is. At least we have a better understanding. The more we can understand now and in the next couple of months, I think.
And that lost revenue is gonna be at the SU level. It will affect that assessment. You're not gonna see that in your specific district budget, so.
Only like 60% of it.
Right.
Well, right, in the assessment, right, but you won't see it in your actual line items other than the assessment, right? Your revenue sources are gonna be as stable as they are. You know what I'm saying?
Until they change the formula.
Until they change the formula, which they gotta get a restructuring of revenues first, so who knows?
Do we want to pick a date?
So do you want the
date?
are you looking for full board to talk about this in October, or do you want the committee to meet with Heidi and then come back with something in October? Like, what are you looking for?
Committee.
I'm seeing committee
I'm not
around
on
there.
it, so definitely committee.
That was my thought too.
Good. So the committee meets between now and October and has something to come back with in October. Is that?
I'm thinking the week before, Because your next meeting would be on October 13th, so if we met the week of October 6th, would that work for anybody? And I can be flexible.
Well, during the day or later afternoon would work better for me.
Flexible.
She's at work all the time anyways.
Can we meet at the office?
Works for me.
Why don't you just send out some,
Tuesday or Thursday, I'm good. That week, 7th or the 9th.
Okay,
Tuesday,
can do the 7th or the 9th.
I cannot do the 7th, I can do the 9th though.
The ninth it is.
the 9th at like 5 or 4:30, or is that, or earlier?
If you guys, whatever you want, whatever Al or Drew and them can do.
What's good for you, Drew?
Either are fine, whatever works. I'm good at it for you.
Drew will come early, like 2 days early anyway. So. You knew that was coming, right?
Dana, would 4 o'clock on the 9th work for you?
Yeah, I'll make it work.
Is that too early for
I'll
you?
make it happen.
Okay, let's do 4 o'clock on the 9th.
Figure it out.
Thank you, everybody.
Just practice, so you say we got game.
Is Peter on it too?
Oh, is Peter on that one?
I don't know, could you figure out who's actually on that committee?
You think Peter?
We'll look it up.
Do you want to send notes to people?
I'm
Invites
actually,
based on the list you have?
I am actually,
She might have been, yeah.
Send me the invite right now.
I thought Drew was.
It'd be logical, he was talking about budgets a lot.
Yep. That's what I thought.
All right,
I'm just gonna put Drew on it.
are we good with a budget timeline plan here? All right, moving right along. Now we can get to principal report, and unfortunately, we used up all of Scotty's time.
Wow, wow.
Oh, that's okay.
All right,
It's a
Scotty, you can go
thorough
first.
Written report. He doesn't even need to speak to it.
Go ahead, Scotty.
Well, I'm happy to report that our opening this year went really well. My staff was great, and we had a lot of meetings prior to the children showing up to make sure that we knew who all our new families were and our new kindergarten students. We had a little bit of a jump. I think we ended last year with 81, and now we're at 89, so that's exciting for our district. Just a few things, highlights. Amy Duffy, our farm to school coordinator, is aligning her curriculum to our EL curriculum, which I think is just going to peel off just that little bit more from the classroom teachers and allow her to take on some of the responsibilities. EL is really very, all of the units are very theme based, so it's very, I wouldn't say easy, but it's clear when you can do those kinds of things. We are in the midst of hiring an experienced interim teacher for grade 2. We've got our grade 2 teachers going on a leave, and I just talked to our HR director today, who's wonderful, by the way, Elizabeth Stash, and she's meeting with this person later this week, and hopefully we'll get her fingerprinted and in the building in the next few weeks, so we can do some overlap. I want to thank Patty Pelton, who is she's the lead teacher, the lead special educator in our TLC program. She is going to be our number 2 in the building. So when I'm out, she will take on any kind of crisis management or any kind of decision making. I want to thank her for that. I worked with a couple of members of my PTO, and we created a letter to families. A couple of weeks ago, there was a lot going on nationally around schools and school violence. And she wanted me to get in front of that and to create a letter that would just let folks know what the law says here in Vermont, what my responsibilities are, and what we're doing. And so I did a really nice job. We put a letter out, and you can read it in the report if you want. Let me see what else I got. We got trained by Renee Merluzzi, our director of curriculum instruction, put together this 2 great days of training prior to school starting, one on labs for K-2 and one for all block for 3 to 5. These are kind of flexible times where teachers will be able to have time for small group instruction while having integrated and aligned activities for the kids just to delve further into the regular curriculum that they're getting in EL. And I was really excited to take part in that. I thought that first of all, Renee did a great job with our collaborator, but also just all the teachers were really pretty excited about it. It's really very well laid out. It's hard, it's complicated, but it's going to be great. And this week we have our open house on Wednesday night, 6 to 7 p.m. And our first behavioral goal is safety. And we've trained the kids, and when we reach that goal, we're going to be giving, with our PTO, we'll be giving a donation to the Newbrook Firehouse as the first donation for the year. So I just want to thank my staff. They're really killing it this year. And I want to thank Bob and his staff because we're really getting some really nice support from the central office. And I know they've had a lot of turnover, but they haven't budged. And we're still getting the same support that we need. So thanks to our new special ed director, and thanks to Bob and his entire staff for just doing a great job. Any questions?
Just one comment. I would just like to say that I appreciated your putting your SIP goals in the report with actionable items towards those goals. Thank you.
Lindsay, can I ask you a question about that? And this,
Yep.
we don't have to make any decisions right now, but I'm using the old structure of academic proficiency, personalized learning, high quality staffing, and safe and healthy schools and financial efficiencies. And then I'm doing the CIP, and so there's some overlap. Maybe we could just, it's hard to know what to do at this point, but I'm going to continue doing this until someone tells me not to. So thank you, Lindsay. I think your idea was great, and it really makes me focus on those goals as a school leader. And that's a great thing. Thank you.
Right, who wants to go next?
I can go. It's been a great start to the school year, and I just want to echo some of the things that Scotty said. I think that even though there's been quite a bit of transition among the central office staff and things, I think that at the school building level, we feel more supported than ever, even with there being new faces. And so Chris Peoples, who our new director of special services, has been to the building frequently, being a great resource. Kate McAllister, the new BCBA, who works across the district. David, the director of social emotional learning, has been a presence in the building, and so it's really great to feel that support. And so we've really felt the support of central office, and I want to thank the board too for your support and making us feel like we're all in this together and that we're setting kids up for success. Also, I wanted to mention Greg Frost and Billy for really getting the building ready. That's always a struggle, to make it all happen, and yet somehow they do, right? And the staff also just really pulled together. So I just wanted to recognize all those folks. The couple of things that I'll highlight is that, as many of you know, we said goodbye to our administrative assistant extraordinaire, who has moved on to greener pastures down Route 30 in the central office. And we have appointed Beth Beatty, who many people know, who's worked at Townsend for a long time, as one of the behavior coach paras in our Cub Cave. She's taking on that role as administrative assistant. So when you call or visit, you'll be seeing Beth at the front door, front desk there. One other thing I mentioned is that one of our goals this year is to find ways to increase student involvement, student engagement, and one of the things that I included in the report was about our jobs program. And today I received the very first job application from a student that Crystal knows very well. And so we're really looking forward to that, as well as many of the other initiatives that we're embarking on to really increase student agency and a feeling of connection and ownership of the school on the students' parts, from pre-K on up to 5th grade. What else can I thought I highlighted something else. Oh, have to put a plug in for School Club, and the mum sale. Friday is the deadline. If anyone is interested, I can make sure that you get information on how to order your fall flowers. They come from Jamaica Gardens, and proceeds benefit our school club, which does so many great things for the students. So just wanted to put a plug in for that, and the rest of it you have there. I also included this time a link to our most recent school newsletter, because I know that anyone with children in our school gets to see that every week as it comes out, but I just included the link to the most recent one in case anyone's interested in seeing some of the more day-to-day things that we do.
Questions?
Just gonna say, if that application is for the military, I think this B thing kicks them out.
All right, well, I was gonna try to help us set a record, and I'll do what I can to make up some time here, but anyway, just some highlights. Under academic proficiency, our local common assessments are underway at middle school and high school levels, and we are gonna be using staff meetings to get people trained up for using that data to provide interventions and even start looking at how classrooms can shift to make sure students are getting their skills to the level that they need to be. Under personalized learning, this is it's a problem, but it's a great problem. Carrie Davison-Berger's reported that she has, I think it's over 25, it's 26, 28 students requesting co-ops. I think it's a record. We have a number of students who don't have their driver's license yet. Really interesting, like it's kind of a problem, but it's a really good problem. So students are definitely interested in these opportunities, and they've been successful for our students. When you have high school seniors basically being hired before they've even graduated or getting into apprenticeships, it's a fantastic opportunity for students. So just something to note. In the opening days of school, middle and high school students were developing goals in their personalized learning plans, goals as people but also as students, and those will be displayed on our back to school night, which is also Wednesday, 6 to 7. And that's exciting because it's one of the layers that we need to engage our students with in terms of like planning their future, thinking about who they are as people, and making sure that they connect basically their futures and their hopes to what they see every day in class. High quality staffing. Really proud of the middle school staff. They asked to start the year with a unified, and when I say like unified, I mean like using common vocabulary and common practices to approach paragraph writing and theme writing, but I would say part of the real strength that is, it involves practices around thinking, clarifying what you're thinking about and what points you're trying to make. Every single teacher on the middle school staff is involved with that, whether it's health PE or math. They're all doing this rollout of writing, and I'm like, that's impressive for students to be like, doesn't matter what room you're in, all the teachers at the middle school level are saying the same thing about writing, using the same vocabulary, and it's like, that's gonna have an impression on our students. They're gonna realize like, this is how we do it, and if they all know it, then we can do it too. So that's awesome. We also have all of our staff are enrolled with our teacher learning strands. We have 2 of our teachers, Laura Tabachnik and Kim Robinson, are running 2 different strands, which actually back into our academic goals on our SIP. Staff got to choose which they would be in, whether it was kind of a PBL lean or whether it's more of a direct instruction lean, but everybody signed up, and we'll be working on those once a month in our staff meeting time and our PD days. But the staff is absolutely committed to improving their skills and helping students, again, learn and push that bar higher. Safe, healthy schools, our opening PD days, we used quite a bit of it for training the staff with the ALICE rollout. We do have drills on our calendar, but it was good. Not always sure how people are gonna engage with a new safety approach, but it was good. people didn't, resist. I think people engaged with it at the level of their comfort, and that went well. And Josana's already, like Clara, you did a great job too, thank you. But I don't really need to say anything. She said it. Our students have been doing a great job with the cell phone expectation. 5 days, we've had a couple incidents. It's like they've really pulled through on it. Our enrollment's up, and I should have checked the actual increase, but I think we're over 10 at this point between middle school, high school. I think we had 4 new students this week, but that's in addition to how many that came in over the summer. So we're up. And under the SIP goals, this is kind of odd. It felt a little redundant. I didn't put the specific goals. I certainly can. So portrait of graduate work is underway through our NEASC work, but also we have our teacher learning strands addressing Tier 1 practices. Safe and healthy schools, our advisories are a big part of that, and they're continuing. I can walk around high school level even, and people are using practices at the start of their classes to build community. We have students coming forward with ideas of how to build camaraderie and community within our student body, which is great. I'm going to keep saying yes to those events. So, it definitely feels like things are really coming together. There's a lot of pieces and parts, but PLP is part of our SIP goal. So again, there's a lot of moving pieces, but it is coming together in good form.
Questions?
Can I add one thing on before you go to questions? I was recently in a call yesterday with, it wasn't yesterday, a couple days ago, with the AOE talking about the new, part of the new Act 73 includes a high school graduation statewide requirements. And so there's a committee that's being put together at the state level to explore those things, and they walked us through the timeline of what that process looks like and so on and so forth. And when they're talking about like unifying those, I had some immediate concerns that we have some requirements that are traditional English, math, so on and so forth. But we have some things that are not common here. Like community service is more common in a lot of places, but not everywhere. But the senior survival piece, I cut and pasted the description of that along with the financial literacy component, because it's all blended together now, and shared it with the what her title is, the academic director at the AOE, and she was very impressed, and she wanted to know more about it, and she asked if she could send it on to the task force that's looking at that and making sure that those things are being considered. So another example of things that have been happening here that are really cutting edge. I don't want to see go away if the state lowers what that graduation requirement is. This is something that the whole state should be striving towards. So I made sure we plugged that a little bit in.
And we do have an internal committee to address those changes coming up for the proficiency-based graduation requirements. And additionally, you talk about senior survival, and I think Sarah Grasso and Terry have had this vision of taking that, like it shouldn't just be a year, it should be a progression through high school. And I know they want to lean into that this year and see if they can design ways, whether it's through advisory and PLP in the classroom, or do we need additional requirements to build up our students' skills to be prepared for life after high school. But yeah, good work.
Lindsay.
I just had a really quick, small comment about this year is the first year that I actually have all of my children in one building, so that's amazing. However, I happen to recall that is not the case for everybody. And I noticed that the middle school and high school have their open house walkthrough the same night and time as the elementary school, meaning that any families that have a student in the elementary school and a student in the middle and or high school cannot possibly be at both places at the same time. And I would love to see stronger communication between our buildings.
Scotty and I talked about that. We were gonna wrestle to see who would get the date, but we decided that wasn't a good idea. So instead,
You probably could have made it a fundraiser, I'm just saying.
Now you suggest it, but anyway,
Cage match.
yeah, got the cake ready. Anyway, we do have it on the admin team agenda to talk about that because
Awesome.
Dover's too.
Yeah.
Wednesday night, it's like we have to. That's on us. So yeah, we kind of realized that after things went out, but not the best.
There's probably other things that'll come up throughout the year, don't worry.
Oh, I'm sure. It jinx us.
Thank you.
I just wanna say, I really appreciate Beth and Monica's newsletter. Very informative. It was great to see everything Jackson's doing. Was super excited about the, crime scene, although he was disappointed it was popcorn and he wasn't getting like blood samples, hair samples. But love the newsletter.
I'll pass it on. We do have a class here that does that though. High school.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Other questions? Scotty, I'm assuming that those of us that are gonna be at the high school on Wednesday can come down and see your school a different day? If we wanna walk through your building as well?
I would give anyone a tour at any time. I do think that we've created a problem because these opportunities are also social, you know, and those things are going to be missed. So I talked to some of my colleagues, and we're committed to trying to find the big family events and trying to make sure that we plan around one another. You know, it's hard because, you know, sports is that same kind of thing, and we can't always plan around those things. But we certainly can make sure that we're not graduating on the same nights and we're not open housing on the same nights, because that just doesn't work for our families. And you know, it was an oversight. I'm sorry.
Anything else from the principals? Do we have a report from Jamaica? Do we have anything specific on what's going on at our Jamaica campus?
We have a
that we
new
wanna share?
admin assistant there.
We have a new administrative assistant there. Tyler Clausen is the administrative assistant, and Kathy and Monica have, I think, 12 attending, but I think there's actually 13 enrolled, but we'll see what happens with that. So it's a little bit larger group this year, and that's what we've got from Jamaica.
All right. Don't want to forget that we have a campus up there too.
Yeah.
Anything else for our principals before we move to our superintendent?
Just want to let you know my granddaughter loves it in Jamaica.
Well, there's the official report.
Yeah.
3-year-olds, 2 thumbs up. Yeah.
All right.
All right, so you have the cabinet report which went out last Friday, which has a bunch of information, and I want to just highlight sort of the happy side of things. Not that it isn't all happy, but on opening day we celebrated some staff, and you have the names in here. But I did want to repeat publicly for this opportunity for the West River and SU people who are in our buildings here. So celebrating Carly Sanderson, Jesse Riemenschneider, Kevin Burke, and Ben Nicholson, who are all in this building for 15 years. Joyce Meal, 25 years. Patrick Mace at Newbrook, 25 years in the district. And of course, Bruce Whitman, 25 years here at Leland and Gray. Matt Martin, 30-year mark between Leland and Gray and Dover and central office and back to whatever. He's all over the place. 30 years. And then Tammy Clausen with 35. At the spring ceremony at Leland and Gray, when they honored her for 35, she did a little cartwheel out to accept her plaque, which I thought, if I get to 35 years, I will not be doing any cartwheels unless Drew's got his crew raised. Yeah, but Tammy, of course, pulled it off. And then, of course, the big one, which was 50 years in our district, is Joyce Van Pamela, who started at Brookline and at Newbrook, and for, I think she said 3 years prior elsewhere. So literally has been teaching as long as I've been alive. We had a fun ceremony at opening day, celebrating the prices of 1975 when she started. A spelling bee where she took on some volunteer staff and beat them all. We just had some fun kind of celebrating 50 years because it's a pretty big deal. And I mean, yeah, I was gonna say it's unheard of, but Nancy Baker in Dover did it 2 years ago before she retired. So like, apparently in this SU it's not unheard of. So Tammy's gonna buckle up because she's got 15 more years.
Long ride.
I don't think Matt's gonna do another 20, but you never know. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that because it was really kind of a fun event, and I just think that we need to do a lot to honor people who have stayed around for that long. It's really impressive. And it says a lot, I think, about the community here too, that they want to stay that long. So, other than that, I have been following some of the task force redistricting a little bit, although the meetings today I couldn't tune into because I had other things happening. But I'll get an update through the Rural School Alliance email chain, which will be really long, and I'll do that tomorrow. I will be at BSA on Thursday and out of the building on Friday. Daughter getting married on Saturday, so I won't be in district. Will be the second marriage in 2 weeks of siblings of children of mine. So it's been a wacky ride. So anyways, that's where we're at, and Jen will be in charge on Friday. So take my questions.
All right. So at this time, looks like we need to enter an executive session. Does somebody want to make a motion?
So moved? No. You can't just move it.
No?
I move that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or a person involved at a substantial disadvantage, and I move we go into executive session to discuss contract negotiations under 1 VSA 313(1)(b).
I'll second that.
There a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries, and we will be working our way into executive session.
Okay, now that we're out of executive session, I'd like to make a motion that the board ratify the agreement between the West River Modified Union Education District and the Wyndham Central Supervisory Union Boards of School Directors and the Wyndham Central Education Association Vermont NEA for years 2025 through 2028 as presented in executive session.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion from the board? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
I will also abstain. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. And we're looking for one.
Oh, move to adjourn.
All right, all those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed can stay by themselves.